you're given this data by customers waiting in line in the express checkout at the beginning of each 3-minute interval between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. on a Saturday. So basically what this is kind of saying is, if I look at the data here, under the horizontal axis 3, that means basically, how many, 3-minute intervals were there where I had 3 customers waiting in line in the express lane. And this is telling me that there was 7 of these 3-minute intervals in this study that had that happening. So that's what the data means. So what you're asked to do here is create a probability distribution based off this histogram, and then find the probability that given any 3-minute interval in the study, there's at least 2 and less than 6 customers in line. The probability that of these 3-minute intervals, there's between 7 and 9 customers in line inclusive. And for D, the probability that given any 3-minute interval in the study, that there is at most 4 customers in line. So, okay, so the first thing I need to do with this is I need to, I'm going to focus on part A right now. I want to create a probability distribution for this histogram. This horizontal data down here is my X values. And that stands for the number of people that are in a express checkout line at these 3-minute intervals. So it ranges from 0 to 10 at the most. So X is going to be the number of people in line for each one of these intervals. I know that I could go from 0 to 10 because I can see the range of values. Now, now what I also need to know is be aware of, well, how many 3-minute intervals are we looking at here? Well, I can kind of tell that by just kind of adding all these counts together. I have, 1 here, 4 here, 2. And this basically is reading the histogram. And so there's 60 of these 3-minute intervals between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. that we looked at. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, because, if I look at, basically 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's 3 hours. 3 hours, is 180 minutes. And if I'm looking at 3-minute intervals, 180 minutes divided by 3 minutes is going to give me 60 of these intervals. So it kind of makes sense in the long run. So, and now what I'm going to simply do now is, basically come up with a probability distribution. So, I'm just going to use these numbers as my numerators. And I'm going to use the n equaling 60 as my denominator. So these are each of the probabilities for these situations. Many of them I could probably simplify a bit. I chose not to do that just for the sake of easiness. But ultimately, when you produce an answer, you should really simplify it when all is said and done. So you have your probability distribution at this point. So when I go back to the problem again, we took care of part A. I'm going to kind of replace that histogram with this probability distribution. Now I can answer my questions a little bit more easily because I'm looking for probabilities.